You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network here on a Monday. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you as we have got plenty to discuss. The Steelers fall to the Bears 31-28. They fall to 6-5. They fall out of the lead in the AFC North, while Chicago remains one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
8 of their last 9, continuing to stay atop the very tough NFC North. Matt, I don't really know exactly where to begin today.
I don't either. That's why I'm glad you're the lead. So I'm glad you're carrying the puck. I'm just sitting here waiting to bury one, maybe.
Disappointing performance by the defense. Disappointing performance by the offense. I think even if you give them the benefit of the grain of salt of the quarterback uncertainty leading up to kickoff. Despite all that, it was still there for them. They still had the lead at halftime. And just a game where it felt like Chicago kind of outlasted the Steelers, made a couple more plays on offense, couple more plays on defense, couple more plays in those weighty moments. And it was enough to, in a game like that, you end up winning and you're feeling great about yourself. You lose and it feels like the sky is falling.
So many directions to go on this. And we will. We got...
plenty of time.
Yeah.
We won't have a show on Thursday, but every other day this week, although by that point we'll be focusing on Buffalo anyway.
I guess we got 24 segments to fill this week instead of 30. So we'll have plenty of time to chat, and we're very appreciative that all you come and join us. And it sounds like viewership is, listening-ship or whatever is going crazy. But win or lose, Mondays are just so overreactionary.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, and that's part of the beauty of this league because everyone cares so much. And it's one game, and I say this all the time. If the Pirates lost 10-0 the day before, nobody cared. Or if they win 10-0, it's one game, you move on.
Nobody cares in general.
Well, in general. But where I want to go with this, and this is not the candy coat the Steelers situation because it's getting kind of dire, and that's just the numbers of the AFC and the division and all these things.
And the road ahead, too.
And the road ahead.
The schedule is getting tough.
And the road is narrowing, as you and Coach like to say a lot, and it's 100% true. But it's going to air tonight, but every Monday I do a review show with Rob and Pursuta. And in the second segment, it kind of dawned on me. It's like, I always like on Mondays to put myself in the shoes of the opposing city, Browns Nation Radio or Bears Nation Radio. You know what I mean? And right now, if this was Bears Nation Radio, we would be jubilant.
Oh,
we would be dancing.
Got dominated in the run game on both sides of the football.
Dancing in the street.
Their defense scored a touchdown.
Yeah, right.
We're still down at halftime.
Yeah.
Still found a way to win.
Because we got this dude that can, we know 2-minute games, we can win in the end, and we got a coach and we got a quarterback, and the Bears are in first place. And
this vaunted Steelers pass rush only got Caleb Williams on the ground one time.
We go on and on and on, and rightfully so. I'm not taking away from the Bears at all. But they've won so many close games. I'm only talking about Chicago. Pretend like we're on Bears Nation Radio. They've won so many ridiculously close games against not the best teams in the league.
Yes.
They didn't edge out the Rams or, the Colts or, some of these Seattle, the best teams in the Eagles. But if they get 2 or 3 bounces that don't quite go their way during that stretch, and where I'm going with this is they still have a negative point differential for the season.
The Bears do.
The Bears do.
Wow.
And they've won 8 out of 9. And they're in first place. I think it's still negative. It's right around there after this game. And all of a sudden you'd be like, man, Bears are doing some good stuff, but don't know how to win yet. My point is almost all these teams, with maybe the exception of the Rams in this side of things and the really terrible teams, it is such a fine line in this league of winning and losing. And I thought yesterday was a perfect example of that. I thought it was a pretty evenly played game Rob and Mike both thought the Steelers were the better team yesterday. I'm not sure I agree with that part, but
I'm not sure if I agree with that.
I was a little shocked they both took that stand.
There's certain elements that you can look at and you can go, that's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely better.
Limiting a top 5 rushing attack in the league, impressive.
All the run game stuff
like I said,
massively.
The run game stuff, if you would have told us that was going to play out on Friday, we would have probably thought Steelers win.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
really
not even how Rob.
Chance that the
that's not
Steelers
even how
win.
Rob phrased it. He's like, if I told you these were the rushing totals and these were the time of possession totals, you'd say the Steelers won handily. I'm like, 1,000%. And oh, by the way, you scored on defense.
I was just going to say though too, if you would have told me that the Steelers' offense scored 21 points against a bottom 5 defense in the NFL,
right?
I would have said, oh, well, you're going to lose that game.
Yeah, exactly. And oh, by the way. And the way he phrased it was, if I told you the Steelers scored on defense and won the running battle so drastically.
You're like 95% of the time you're winning that game.
And he'd be like, could you paint a picture where they lose? I'm like, if they lost the turnover differential by like 4, and if you factor in 4th downs, they did lose the turnover differential by 2.
And Matt Williamson turnover differential.
And frankly, that might be the difference in the game when you look back at it. It's that fine a line. And they did some really good stuff. But they also have some really big concerns. And Pursuita's big take was self-inflicted wounds. Like you got to complete 1 or 2 of those deep shots. Like you didn't take many. It was a very controlled passing game. They didn't throw in the middle of the field. I'm very fully aware of that. I get that. But if you're going to take shots, you got to complete them. And you can't have an illegal formation in a crucial time. And
you might win if you don't make that mistake.
Right. I mean, and goofy little things like the Skoranek was a penalty. That punt that was a penalty on the Bears, and then they flipped it, and us on TV had no clue what happened, and that was like a 40-yard swing of yardage.
Yep.
So this was a very close game against a quality opponent, and Rob even laid it out like big picture: Colts, Seattle, Green Bay, Chicago. I'm missing one here in the AFC that they won.
New England?
New England. Like those 5 games are against all playoff teams. And if you put that whole body of work together, you're even with all of them. You know what I mean? Like some you lost by a little, some you won by a little. You're hanging with all those teams. He compared it to, this isn't going to Buffalo in the wild card round where it's like, that's a Super Bowl contender against a playoff contender. It's a fine line, but you might be a mistake or 2 away from maybe getting a win or 2 there.
I'll be bad cop for a second then.
But there's a lot of bad cops
because
that go down the road too.
I don't think you're talking utter rubbish here. I don't think you're just speaking nonsense.
I'm not saying they're a bounce away from winning the Super Bowl.
The reason why I can't do
I'm shocked that I'm the optimist here.
Right.
Yeah,
the reason I can't do the sunshine and rainbows thing today is because so much of what ailed the Steelers yesterday in the Windy City, on a beautiful day in the Windy City, by the way, is the same stuff that's ailed them in their other 4 losses.
That's where I wanted to go too.
It'd be one thing if it was, to steal another Mike Tomlin term, I like to do that. It'd be one thing if it was popcorn for the Steelers.
Right.
You lost this game because you had some really unfortunate injuries. DK got banged up. Broderick Jones went out. Joey Porter Jr. went out.
You don't have any safeties or something, right.
But it's
wow, you got a punt block. That never happens.
Every time the Steelers lose a game like this, you can always point to the defense didn't make life difficult enough on the opposition quarterback. That's always a big one.
I thought the pass rush was a little lacking.
One play aside, and it was a massive play.
Massive.
The strip sack by TJ, recovered by Herbig, 7 points on the board. I mean, that is a massive splash play, but that was about it. I mean, it was feast. It was 2% feast and 98% famine.
Mm-hmm. Or at least like eating lightly.
Yes,
because I definitely they wanted to keep him in the pocket.
I wanted the turkey on the table,
and
instead it was just like a little charcuterie board off to the side with the kids' table or something.
I'm not fighting you, and I am not being good cop totally, because I got a lot of concerns and a lot of things to be concerned about. But I even said the pass rush I think was a little lacking. But they also Williams, they kept him in the pocket, and their goals wasn't to get to 8 sacks. It was make him throw and beat you.
Don't let him run for 40 yards.
And he missed a lot of throws as he has all year. But they only seem to slow them down when he missed throws. Like, what are we talking?
Same, inability to really make the quarterback uncomfortable and miscommunication at the worst possible times.
Right. A big thing Mike said is like they still don't know how to play zone coverage well. And
in the shadow of their own end zone, even where the field's shorter, in big 3rd and long situations where it's like
the DJ Moore touchdown can't happen.
Can't happen.
Like
that conversion that Chicago had at the end, it was what, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and they dump it off over the middle, and there's
nowhere to be found.
It's like you're standing in the middle of the Sahara Desert with nobody around you.
Yep. I keep quoting the show we just did because I went into that show thinking differently than I came out of that show, and that's how my Mondays work. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
I try to just kind of narrow things down as the day goes on. And Mike kept harping about, boy, they still aren't good at zone coverage, and mentioned that every Thursday we do that show with Merrill, and Merrill brings it up all the time from tape study that they drop to their spot and they're doing their job, but they're just guarding grass. Coach, I'm at my landmark. I'm sitting here doing my job, but there's no one for you to guard. Go do something else.
Yeah.
Right.
A lifeguard at a pool with no one swimming.
No one swimming. Right. Right. I mean, so go be a football player then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then offensive side of the football, it's even with a consistent run game,
which was great. And the O-line's really good right now.
Outstanding. Outstanding. And it's not like Mason was sacked 5 or 6 or 7 times. He was only sacked twice. So,
right.
I mean, there were only 3 sacks in total in this game.
And those 2 sacks, I keep interrupting you, but I'm all wound up. It's like,
I know where you're going with this, and it was, go ahead, because I was going to bring this up.
Their scariest dude, Sweat, really good player. They gave up a lot for him, gave him a huge contract. Everyone on the planet knows he's good. I love Darnell Washington. But
he's not a tackle.
He's not a tackle. Right.
I don't care how big he is.
Right. You can't
He's never
block
played
their best
tackle in his life.
You're not blocking their best guy.
He was a wide receiver when he got to Georgia.
Yes. And there was 2 or 3 plays that didn't totally destroy him where they're blocking Sweat with a running back. Warren's great in protection. Washington's great in protection. For running backs and tight ends, not for offensive tackles.
Matt, it takes a lot to kind of make me demonstrative.
Yeah.
1, because I'm in the booth doing my job.
Oh,
I
I'm
have
sure.
to work
I'm sure.
And I have to,
yeah.
But 2, because I know I'm forget preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to the pastor on this one. I realize over the course of a 60-minute NFL game, you're going to have good, you're going to have bad. You're never going to dominate someone and play a perfect A-plus squeaky clean.
Sure. And that defensive coordinator wants to get that matchup.
Absolutely.
Right.
But, man, the first time, shame on you. The second time, shame on me.
We can't have that, right?
Like we can't have that.
Right.
We can't have that, and we cannot.
You're asking too much.
We cannot. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if it's Aaron. I don't care if it's Mason. I don't care if it's Will Howard. I don't care if it's Matt Williamson or Wes Uhler or Tyler Vittmeyer. You can't just continue to try and push the ball down the boundary when you don't have wide receivers that accelerate in that area. It's square peg and round hole.
Yeah.
And so you're not using your tight ends, which we all thought was going to be a huge strength over the middle of the field.
Right.
And
I mean, just going back to how the team is built.
Spoiler alert, like it's not George Pickens running down the boundary where he can stick out one arm like a trapeze artist and come up with.
Right.
That's not the game. That's not the skill set of these wide receivers.
Including DK, which
absolutely.
I've been preaching
DK
since he was.
does a million things well. That is not one of them.
No, just because he's big and fast and strong doesn't mean he plays big and strong.
Exactly right.
That's about the catch point.
And so it's
him and Pickens couldn't be any different, except for how tall they
are. It's so much square peg and round hole stuff on offense.
And Austin and Wilson are just too small.
It's so much.
And I'm not sure. And Rudolph threw poorly deep.
Yes.
Oh, of course. I mean, which goes without saying.
And that's been an issue on offense again. Whoever the quarterback is, and whoever the coordinators are, and all that and that stuff. And then on defense, it's as much as you manage to stymie their very effective run game, which was a huge key going into this one.
So once again,
everything else regressed.
Priority 1, they actually checked the box again. Stop
but
Jonathan Taylor.
2 through 4 or 5 regressed, went the wrong way.
Exactly. Priority 1, stop Josh Jacobs. Did it. Stop Jonathan Taylor. Did it. Jamar Chase.
Did it.
Did it. Like, all right, you're doing the hard stuff. But then all the other priorities are like they're picking isn't winning football.
Yeah. I mean, DeAndre Swift had 15. He averaged less than 2 yards a carry.
He's having a great year. Right.
Modern guy, 12 for 48. Take that all day.
Sure. Williams didn't kill you with his
21
legs.
yards on the ground.
Yeah.
It's fine. Held him under 30, held him under 40, fine.
One of the best rushing teams in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
And even, it's not like the receivers killed you either.
No.
But they made plays in the most opportune of moments.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong, but I think there is two sides to it.
Hey, you won the time of possession battle. We did have that. We did have that going for us.
Exactly.
No, I don't. This game, and we need to get to a break here and catch up with Rob King.
We'll go on.
We'll talk more about this. This game in a vacuum, Matt, doesn't make me feel all doom and gloom.
No, if this was week 1, pretend it's week 1, you know nothing else.
If it was 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This game is not all doom and gloom. Okay, the plays were there to be made. You did some things good. You did some things bad. They outlasted you and made more plays down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Upstart team in their home. That place was rocking, by the way, too.
I bet Bears fans couldn't be more happy.
That was, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but probably without a doubt the best atmosphere that the Steelers have played in on the road this season.
Like most respect you had for the building you were in and the fans.
So I've told you, MetLife, it was 40% Steelers fans.
Sure,
SoFi, it's 50% Steelers fans.
Yeah.
This was 15% Steelers fans.
Mm-hmm. And they're good fans, and they're excited, and they're not mad at the Bears.
Oh, Matt, they were ready to go. I mean, again, they haven't had a team like this in a long time. It's a prideful sports city. It's a huge sports town.
Best time of my life since Ditka to be a Bears fan. And they're eating it up.
It is hilarious because Ditka's face is all over that stadium still. Yeah. And Gale Sayers and Walter Payton and Mike Singletary. Mm-hmm. And it's a testament to how legendary those guys are, but it's also because they've had diddly squat since
30 years, right?
Brian Urlacher since
1985. There hasn't been a lot to get excited about.
You see a lot of Walter Payton and Mike Ditka and Brian Urlacher jerseys.
Yeah.
Not a lot of new current players. You know?
Okay, makes sense.
Now, the team shop was packed, so, I mean, I'm sure they're starting to fly
they're
off
selling
the shelves.
Caleb's left and right now. Yeah, right.
Probably a couple guys on that defense as well. But, yeah, it seems like a reoccurring episode of when this team struggles, you can kind of write the struggles. It hasn't been popcorn this one game, popcorn that one game. It's been kind of the same 3 or 4 things that have ailed them when we're disappointed on a Monday.
I know we need to roll, but I mean, you kind of preface that by saying if this was one game in week 2 or early or whatever, but it is a lot of the same stuff, and it makes you wonder, is it going to ever get better? Or is that who they are in terms of zone defense, all the passing stuff in this game, where the run game's gotten so much better? You know, like O-line was bad to start season. Now the O-line's really good. Like, by far the best it's been.
Defense couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground to start the season.
Now running on the Steelers is a nightmare.
Now the third best rushing attack in the league couldn't even break 100 yards.
Right. So those things have gotten better when we thought, those things are never going to get better. But you're also running out of road. You are. and the road's narrowing.
The road is narrowing, and there's some tricky twists and turns on that road, of course, beginning with this Sunday, a kind of desperate and angry Buffalo Bills team in their own right. We'll have plenty of time to get to that, plenty of time to continue to dissect this game. Let's talk to Rob King when we return on the other side. He'll be good cop for us. Rob King's, that show you do with him in Pursuta, that's like the definition of you got good cop on one side, bad cop on the other. Rob King's good cop, Mike Pursuita's bad cop.
There's been a lot of that on the Monday nights.
You're just kind of, you're the center with those two trying to figure out where you're going.
I think there's some truth to that, yeah.
We'll talk to the King.
That's why I like it. I'm glad that we record that is when we do, to be honest. I'll pull back the curtain because I like hearing both sides,
Yeah. Hey, good perspective, as always, and we'll get that from Rob King when we return. Rolling along here on the drive on a Monday, Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
Oh, la la. Oh, well. King in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair. Oh, go do this. King in the castle.
Needed a little bit of levity here on this Monday, so we'll play the Borat intro for the King, now being in the castle. Rob King. Hey, what's up? Does that feel pretty good? Put a smile on your face to hear that one again. It's been a while.
Always, my friend. And just talking to you and Matt puts a smile on my face. Come on, man. Seriously.
Well, that's what we like to hear, Rob. That's what we like to hear. We always enjoy catching up with you as well. Even on a little bit of a commiseration Monday. 31-28, the Steelers fall in Chicago. Matt and I kind of had a beefy opening segment discussing some of the good, discussing some of the bad, discussing ways you could be encouraged, discussing maybe some of the concerning trends, at this point for this team now 11 games into the year. What's kind of at the top of your list, Kinger? You are, I think, a much more professional journalist than Matt and I are. If you were kind of writing the headline of this game from a black and gold standpoint, what would that headline read?
I mean, 6-5, right? You are your record. I mean, unfortunately, Matt and I were discussing this earlier, and we'll be discussing it later with Mike Prizzuta when we do the point after. But, I just look at this team and I see some of the elements in place for this team to be better than 6-5. And, that's at the end of the day, you are your record. That's it, right? You're a 6-5 football team, and you have to live with that. I still have hope, though, when I look at, some of the statistical areas in which they defeated the Bears. Had you told me that before the game, I would have signed up for all of it and thought the Steelers would have won handily as opposed to losing by 3 points. I think that when I look at the good teams they've played and, with the exception of the Chargers, they've either beaten top teams or had halftime leads, getting the ball to begin the second half against the other 3 teams that have defeated them. And there's a lot there for me to think if they could just find a way to get more consistent, and consistency means from one game to the next, but it also means within a game. How you can, run it up against the Bears in the first half and then come out and have 13 yards of offense in the third quarter. I don't have that one figured out. And if you can figure that out, I think you're in good shape. So, there are a number of little issues, but there's nothing where I think to myself, they're just simply not as good as the other teams. I don't see that. I hope I'm not seeing it through black and gold colored glasses, but I haven't seen that. And so that gives me hope that they can find a way to turn things around.
Yeah, I want to expand on that because I thought you said that well when we were chatting earlier about Green Bay, Chicago, Seattle in the NFC, the Colts, the Patriots in the AFC. Like, those 5 teams, and maybe I'm even missing one, are all going to the playoffs. I mean, I'll bet just about everything I have at this point. Maybe one of them doesn't, but I bet they're all playoff caliber teams. Seattle, the Colts could be Super Bowl caliber teams, or at least, they're top 5-ish teams right now as it looks. Patriots are really, really good. And frankly, if you combine every snap of all those games, the Steelers basically were very even with all of them.
I would go so far as to say that in every one of those games, there were ample opportunities for the Steelers to win.
Yeah.
And they after you lose Seattle, you rip off 3 in a row against the Patriots. The Vikings win that probably looked a little bit better at the time than it does now. Against the Browns, it was 23-9, but you're never in any danger of losing that game. So you win 4 of your first 5, but again, you're up by a touchdown against Seattle and you get the ball to begin the second half. Now think about that. Like, that's the scenario you want. That's what you write up. And it was the exact same scenario with the Packers and the exact same scenario yesterday with the Bears, all quality teams. And, when you think about, okay, at half, you're up 16-7 to the Packers. You put another score up, it's a 3-score game. Well, I mean, maybe you have two touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions, but you might as well, try to win the lottery, expect that's going to happen. Instead, you go 3 and out. 3 plays, 2 yards, you punt. Seattle, you're up 14-7. You go down and score, and that's a 2-score game. Same thing.
And if Caleb Johnson knows the kickoff rule, well, things might go a little differently too.
Yeah, for sure. There are just and all those, Matt, you're right, but all those are things like, what's going on here? I don't understand why.
Still frustrating.
That's the case.
Yes.
Not like, hey man, we were outclassed. Like again, I've referenced this like 2 years ago. I just thought the Steelers weren't as good as the other teams they were facing. The top teams, they just didn't match up. Some of that's a quarterback position, obviously, but they just didn't match up against the top teams. I thought they got closer to that last year, and I think they're there this year. look, they've played a lot of high caliber teams, and with the exception of the Chargers, right? I mean, you should at least be 3-3, in my opinion, at least 3-3 against top quality teams, without having been the Chargers. That wasn't a good game, but with the exception of the Chargers, you've had ample opportunity to win those games. You've had ample opportunity to say, hey, we're 4-2 or 5-1 in those games, instead of 2-4 against playoff bound teams. But you are what you are. I again, it's not like I'm watching Derrick Henry run for 240 yards or whatever, and
right.
And hey, you just got outclassed. I haven't felt that way at all this year. I thought it was a better team. I still think it's a better team, but ultimately you've got to find a way to sew up stakes, tighten things up, and find a way to win games, because the margin that you built up when you got off to that 4-1 start, that's gone. And in fact, you are now the pursuer instead of the pursuee. So that's where you are.
Yeah, with a tough sledding schedule of Buffalo at home, Baltimore on the road, the Miami Dolphins, who are suddenly showing some life. You got to go to Detroit. Hey, Cleveland, who knows? Shedeur Sanders 1-0.
Right.
Maybe it's a new.
Yep.
Yeah, and also on the road in Cleveland, where, hey, late December in Cleveland, I'm sure the weather won't factor into that one, and couldn't be another snow game globe for the Steelers. But Kinger, to me, so much of this revolves around getting their playmakers on offense going. If you take away the defensive touchdown for the Steelers, that's 21 points against a Bears defense that statistically is one of the worst in the National Football League. You take away the two pick sixes, a pick six and a scoop six against Cincinnati, it's 20 points against the Bengals defense that is the worst in the National Football League. Out in L.A., you only scored 20 points. Against Indianapolis, 27, but you had, again, 6 turnovers and a lot of help from your defense. To me, there's good cop, bad cop. Reasons for optimism, pessimism, glass half full, glass half empty. But when I look at Calvin Austin, 36 yards, Kenneth Gainwell, 30 through the air, being your second leading receiver, Darnell, only 2 receptions for 22, DK, only 5 for 22, Jonnu Smith, 3 for 21, Pat Freiermuth, 3 for 19. They have got to find a way to find some playmakers on offense and in terms of ball-catching, receiving playmakers, and not just Kenneth Gainwell, who's been great out of the backfield the last few weeks. They need more from DK. They need more from the rest of the wide receivers. And I think, Kinger, one of the biggest things at this point now, 11 games in, is more consistency with that tight end trio that we thought was going to be a real kind of hallmark calling card of this offense.
Yeah, I think, as I look at this team, there was no way, I think, that statistically the Steelers thought the defense is going to be giving up this many yards and this many points. Mm-hmm. I didn't think there was any way. Having said that, I don't think that the offense has done enough of its share. This was the first game all year that the Steelers, ran more plays than the opponent. And they won the time. So they won the time of possession battle last week, thanks to a kneel down at the end of the game. Otherwise, it was dead even against Cincinnati. And I'm not saying that is a be-all, end-all statistic. I'm just saying that you need to find ways to help your defense out, right? You need to be able to keep your defense off the field. Well, the Steelers largely did that yesterday. For all our criticism, and yes, they came up with a defensive touchdown. For all our criticism of the offense, and you got to run the ball more and possess it more, well, they did that yesterday, and the Bears scored 31 points. And some of that's not all on the defense, because the defense yardage-wise held the Bears down, and the Bears have had that sort of it factor knack that I think we're used to the Steelers having, finding ways to win ball games. They're 8-3, and they've been outscored this year. That's crazy. They've just been able to find that magic. But do you expect, to give up 31 points to a team when you hold them to 328 yards of total offense? That doesn't add up to 31 points. So I've said this before. I use the puzzle piece analogy. Like, I've got all these puzzle pieces or a math equation. I've got these numbers, and it just doesn't add up. I think in a lot of ways, the Bears are more than the sum of their parts, right? Like, how could you possibly be giving up all these yards and be gashed on the ground. But defensively, points per game, it's not horrible, not as horrible as the number should suggest. It's not like Caleb Williams is dicing up opponents, and yet they're winning football games. They find a way to win football games. The whole is more than the sum of their parts. And for the Steelers, it just feels like that hasn't been the case. Like 1 week, against the Green Bay Packers, against the Cincinnati Bengals, you're flinging them all over the field. This game, you run for 180 plus yards, 186 yards on the ground. We've seen signs when it hasn't happened. And the defense has had games they've dominated. And the Steelers won the game in New England and won the game against the Colts, two of the top teams in the AFC, thanks to their defense. It doesn't need to be that heroic. I just think it needs to come together more. And in a game like yesterday, some of it came together, but not all of it. And in these losses, it hasn't all been there. Like I said, they haven't been run out of the building, but they just haven't been able to put it together in a way that allows them to win consistently.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on something you said too, and maybe the most shocking big picture thing as we sit here a couple days away from Thanksgiving is the yardage they allow on defense. Because I do think they have a lot of good defensive players, and they have a great pass rush, and they clearly create splash. But down in and down out, early in the season, I thought a lot of it was the run game, the Jets game. It seems like a million years ago, but, Cam Hayward hadn't practiced, and a lot of defensive lines across the league are just fatigued really early in the season. Run defense has been corrected, but I still I still expect more from the coverage unit when the ball's going to come out quick. And that to me is maybe the most frustrating big picture thing about the season.
Real quick, Kinger, before you get into that, 383 total yards surrendered per game. That's 28th out of 32 in the league. 258 pass yards per game. That's 31st out of 32 in the league.
Just the pass coverage has me frustrated.
And it doesn't seem possible, does it?
Right.
I mean, you've got good players back there.
And it's not a rash of injuries or.
Yeah, it's mystifying. And, again, they found ways to turn teams over, and they found ways to harass Daniel Jones. And, after Flacco lit him up for a game, they clamped down. So, this week they stopped the Bears' offense on the ground that was the second best running offense in the NFL a week after they shut down Chase and Higgins and that group in Cincinnati with what they'd been doing in the previous 3 games under Joe Flacco. Like I said, it's as if the ingredients for, chili are there, and you put it in the pot and you taste it, and it tastes like squash soup. Like, how's that possible? Mm-hmm. The ingredients are all there in the pot. There they are. I mixed it up. I stirred it. I made it, and it's not chili. It's squash soup. That's what it feels like to me in some ways. Like I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it. I don't have an explanation for the consistency not being there. I will say this, and again, it gives me hope because I do see, what these units are capable of. We just haven't seen it on a consistent basis. And look, the special teams have been a real plus for the Steelers all season long. That's been something you can pretty much chalk up in the win column. Like, special teams are going to be great, right? Well, the coverage units weren't great. The punting, the net punting wasn't great yesterday. That's another small part where we're talking about them winning the yardage battle. Well, did you really? If you're giving up yardage in the special teams game, because that doesn't get added in, So I don't know, guys. Like I said, I'm encouraged when the 6-5 record. I just feel like it's a better team than that, and I just hope that means there's better times ahead coming up with. Let's face it. I mean, this game against the Bills, I felt like you had to win one of these 2 games. If you were going to pick one, I would have picked the Bills. But if you're going to, as far as importance, because it's an AFC game, I think the Bears. I thought the Steelers were better than the Bears and were going to win the game, and then you could go in with a little bit of house money and play the Bills. Now this game is just looming as extra important. It was important before, and now I think it's extra important that you go and and beat them. But again, with the nature of the NFL, for all we know, the Ravens will lose on Thursday night to Cincinnati, and we'll have a whole new feeling about it. Who knows, guys? But that's the way it feels to me. Like this game against Buffalo has suddenly become a much more crucial game because the Steelers have had opportunities to beat teams that they haven't beaten. Meaning of more recent vintage, the Packers and the Bears, when you were ahead at the half and had the ball to begin the second half. But it is what it is, man. It's 6-5. That's your record, and you got to find a way to move forward.
No doubt about it. Kind enough to join us every single Monday here on the program, the voice of your Pittsburgh Steelers, on the flagship, on the Steelers Audio Network, the great Rob King. Kinger, thanks for the time, man. Enjoy the week and some family time, and happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.
I will see you guys soon, but and Matt, I will see you sooner than probably Wes, but happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well.
Take care, Kinger. Wow, wow, wee, wow. There he goes. Good stuff from Rob King, as always. Can I just tell you something, Matt, real quick? Before we go to break and get back into this. And Labs sent me a Week 12 research packet that has some actually, I think, pretty good nuggets in it that I want to get into with you as well. Hey, your son's a freshman in college right now. This
sporting his brand new Darnell Washington jersey yesterday.
Love it.
I was like, oh,
Darnell Washington did kill a guy once again in Chicago yesterday. Good Lord. Man, this used to be like my favorite week when I was that age. When I was that high
college,
school, college age. Yeah.
Because he came home a couple days ago. He's had a blast, right?
Because you get, you'll come home on a Friday or Saturday, and you get the whole week. You're home for like 8 or 9 days. It's great of haven't seen my buddies for the most part since August. Right. It's usually not terribly winter out yet, so it's not like it's 7 degrees and freezing. And Christmas break is different because when you're in college, Christmas break is like 4 or 5 weeks long. Like mom and dad expect you to do something. Like you're not just going to sit around the house.
Some people get jobs or
do
something productive.
Get a seasonal job, do something productive. You're going to be home for 4 or 5 weeks. Thanksgiving break, it's like no one says anything to you. You're just home for a week. You got the whole week. You got Thanksgiving. You got the football. You got the family.
He's living large.
This used to be like when I was in college. This was like my favorite week of the year. I loved it.
I'm seeing it through his eyes. I mean, he's been home since Thursday night, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's in his bed. If
you still had 4 weeks off, you'd be like, dude, go find something to do.
Yeah,
right?
Get out of here, right?
Right.
Mow the lawn or something.
Cut the grass, go shovel the driveway, go help at the senior home down the road. I don't know, do something. But yeah, man, Thanksgiving week, just that week and getting back together with your buds for the first time in a few months, that was the best. We've got plenty more to get to. We'll continue to give some thoughts on this Steelers loss, 31-28 to the Bears. We'll obviously go around the league and look at a very important Week 12 slate of results in hour number 2 as well. All that and more as we roll along. Uhler, Williamson, The Drive, Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here, closing down the first hour. Matt, kind of, piggybacking off of a little bit of what Rob talked about where, in some ways it feels like it's a better team than 6-5, but you are what your record says you were.
Yeah.
And that's just also kind of life in the National Football League. Sometimes the bounces are going to go your way. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes Kansas City Chiefs thing, right? You're going to go win 12 straight one-score games and then lose 4 or 5 in a row, although they might have some life now. We'll get to that in hour number 2. Matt, the Steelers have now lost 3 games this year when they've scored 25 points. They're 3-3 in games where they score 25 or more points.
Yeah.
That's the most losses in a season for the Steelers in such games since 2018.
I saw that, yeah.
And it was obviously a much maligned Steelers defense in 2018 that was still trying to recover from the loss of Ryan Shazier and find its identity and was not a very good unit. The Steelers in 23 and 24 were 9-0 when scoring 25-plus points.
I thought that was pretty telling.
That, to me, again, it paints obviously not the most, successful picture for your defense that we all know, $160 million, highest paid defense in the league. That pendulum swings back to the other side this week, right, as we've kind of laughed about. But it almost, to me, you've got to find ways, getting back to what I was kind of asking Kinger there. I know that the defense hasn't lived up to the billing that we all expected coming into this year.
Right.
But I also think you have got to find ways to consistently score more points, because even when you are, it's not guaranteeing success like it used to. I mean, we usually, Steelers, go out there and score 3 or 4 touchdowns and you're hardly ever going to lose.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to get some more of these playmakers involved, man, other than just Warren and Kenneth Gainwell.
Agreed. So back to that blurb. That stuck with me too. Of everything that,
it's
in the packet, that was the one that was, because it used to be. I pull a lot of my stats out of there and stuff. It's very useful. It comes straight from the league. But going into this season, you can pretty much go back to the end of Roethlisberger era. That the magic number was 20 points. Like if the Steelers got to 20. They won an extremely high percentage of their games.
Yes.
Now, it didn't happen as much as a lot of teams, so you had to grind out low-scoring games, and everybody remembers that era. This era feels different, because they do score into the 20s and 30s with some regularity.
Much more often than they used to.
Much more often. So you see it, and you're like, boy, Dale and I made the joke for years and years. It's like they don't throw touchdown passes. They throw 13 in a season or something crazy like that. I mean, Rodgers has more than anybody since Ben, and it didn't even play yesterday, and it's not even Thanksgiving. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so you see the progress, and to Rob's point, you can kind of taste what's there. I see a lot of reasons to think that it's not the same Steelers that went into Buffalo or get beat by Mahomes. Yeah, that was the perfect example. It's Henry and Lamar just running all over you, and they're going to lose this game 10 out of 10 times. They're 9.5 out of 10. Like that team's just better. That's the Ravens. Where a lot of these games, it's like you're battling really good teams right to the end, or you're deficient in a couple areas, and unfortunately they've been some of the same areas of late. But I didn't think that would be the number, or the stat. Like that's what shocks me from the, in Latrobe.
You think the stat would be when they give up 25 or more points?
Yeah, right.
Then they're 500. Or
I wouldn't think they'd scored that many as often as they did, and I wouldn't think that
they're losing.
They lose as many that much, right? And I'm not implying they're like last year's Bengals or this year's Bengals, no. You lose every game 36-35, and it's a total shootout all the time. But you're right with the offensive stuff, too. Like, they're throwing all these deep balls. Well, they're not a lot. They don't throw deep very often. But when they do, it's the guys that aren't really great at contested catches, the Metcalf and Austin and Wilson. And I hadn't even thought of this, but Pursuta brought it up. He's like, well, should Valdez-Scantling get a helmet? And I originally thought, like, I've seen that show at a lot of different stops, and it's not the answer. But he does that well. I see what they saw in him.
Bigger body type.
It's not just because he's Rodgers' buddy.
Go route down the boundary.
One of the big problems with Austin and Wilson, to me, on the deep balls is they're just too small, at the catch point.
Yes.
And Metcalf is not a great catch point receiver, despite his dimensions. That's clear. Pickens was. If you're going to throw deep balls outside the numbers as a foundation, the guys hauling them in have to be better at it. And frankly, Rudolph's passing was just poor in that regard yesterday. I would love to see what Rodgers could have done.
It was, it's a combination of not the best quarterback play, and I think just not catering the route tree to your receivers' best skill sets.
Yeah, right.
And when you combine that with, little to no success or involvement from your tight ends in the pass game.
Yeah.
That's even with the success on the ground. 92 for Gainwell, 68
the ground stuff was
for Jalen. Yeah.
Protection was good.
It certainly was.
But I think no one on the team had more than 36 receiving yards.
36.
Yeah.
Only 2 guys had more than 30. Calvin Austin and Kenneth Gainwell. Well, Gainwell had exactly 30. So 30,
that's why I picked the number.
More.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But, yeah.
You just need more production than that,
You do.
I need fantasy numbers out of these guys.
22 yards for Darnell, 22 yards for DK Metcalf. You tell me between those two, if you were to tell me going into this game, right, that Darnell, DK, Jonnu, Pat Freiermuth were barely going to combine for over 80 yards receiving together, the 4 of them.
They're all your big pass catchers.
They combined went for like 84, 80. I'm trying to do quick math. 84, 85 yards.
Yeah. Well under 100
for 4 guys. And I'm like, there's no chance.
And they're all your 6'4" and bigger guys.
You have to rush for 250 yards to win the game.
To win the game, right.
That's and again,
and they're not the only ones to blame for it.
No.
Of course.
And if this felt like more of a one-off, okay, it was a backup quarterback. It was a weird week in that regard. Fine, flush it and
played
move on.
Played an amazing defense, or right.
But I think we've been underwhelmed in that department pretty consistently this year, and this was just kind of the most glaring example.
Yeah, right. I mean, just give me a little more from each of them, or collectively give me 25% more.
Go along.
And that might be enough. It might be enough.
Hour in the books, another hour to go. More on the Steelers' defeat in Chicago, and plenty more on a wild Week 12 around the National Football League. All of that as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, halfway home on the drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Yeah. Us too. Hour number 2 here on the drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson with you on a jam-packed Monday, jam-packed Week 12 around the National Football League. Matt, what do you say we you want to kind of run the gambit here and talk about some of these other games around?
Yeah, there's some news too. There's coordinators getting let go. Shedeur Sanders is named the starter. McCarthy's got a concussion. I don't think he's going to be playing this week. I mean, a lot happening on this Monday when a lot of these rough teams are in a lot worse shape than the Steelers.
Also, I don't know if you saw the news that the Bengals are anticipating Joe Burrow playing on Thanksgiving, on Thursday.
I did see that, which is kind of exciting in that it gives them a better chance to beat the Ravens. Everyone's rooting for the Bengals here. Now, Higgins suffered a pretty nasty, immediately ruled out concussion that there's no way he's playing Thursday.
On a short week.
Right. But Chase is a little wound up after getting
that's true.
Suspended
after
last
sitting
week,
down
too.
For a week, and he gets his boy back at quarterback.
Ravens don't look the same. They really struggled with the Jets. Like, I'm not trying to instill hope that it shouldn't be there. They're playing better than Steelers, don't get me wrong, but they're not this powerhouse I thought they were going to be, including how Lamar looks.
I was going to say Lamar does not look healthy.
No, he does not.
Something's going on with that knee. And hey, maybe that'll end up being the difference down the stretch.
Yeah.
We'll obviously wait and see, but yeah.
But Cincy could win that game.
Cincy certainly could. That's the night game, I think.
That's
right?
the last one, yeah.
There's actually a pretty good slate of games on Thursday.
And there's a game Friday.
And there's a game, the Black Friday game as well, too, baby. Yeah, so let's run the gambit here, and then we'll get into some more of the specific news stories and things that have leaked out since the last 24 hours or so here. Patriots get it done. Speaking of the Bengals, 26-20, 10-2. The New England Patriots, Matt, have not lost since. I mean, you talked about how that Seattle game feels, or Jets game feels forever ago. So does that win in Foxborough. But the Patriots keep humming. They are undefeated, a perfect 6-0 on the road. Probably a little tighter than they wanted, but they go into Cincinnati and get a win.
Yeah, and hey, any road win, is not an easy accomplishment in this league. But I bet they're not thrilled with how they played there. They lost their left tackle, which their first-round pick, for an extended stretch. It might be the year, might be playoffs. Who knows? But for a while now, and they really don't have depth to deal with that. He's been okay. The kid out of LSU,
Campbell,
early pick, Campbell. And frankly, they didn't move the ball against a not very great Bengals defense like you'd expect. So they won, and I'm not saying they're coming back to earth or anything like that, but. And the Bengals D was a little bit better to their credit, but wasn't a resounding win for the Patriots, It's just I'm just trying to figure out the AFC pecking order. Yeah, it's really hard right now.
It's very bizarre. I mean, they have the best record at 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 2.5 game lead over Buffalo, 3-game lead over Buffalo. That's impressive at this point for them. The Colts could have moved to 9-2 and been right on their heels, but they obviously followed the Chiefs. We'll get to that in a minute. I mean, if the playoffs started today, the Patriots would have a first-round bye.
Are they number one? Okay.
Which is Broncos.
I was like, Denver did a week ago, but I Denver was off this week.
They were
right?
off this week. So
I don't know how that affected things.
Technically, New England's 10-2. The Broncos are 9-2. They're just a half game ahead because New England hasn't had their bye.
I think
week
their
yet.
bye's coming up real soon.
I think you are right. It might be this week or next
week. It might be this
week.
Yeah.
In one of the crazier games of the weekend, Matt, in overtime, another one that we didn't see coming. I think everybody thought the Lions would beat the Giants, but that it wouldn't be this tight, wouldn't take overtime. Jameis Winston caught a touchdown pass. The Giants
It was a crazy play.
Crazy play.
Yeah.
A really athletic catch and run from
He
Jameis
looked like
Winston.
a football player. Right. Not like a old quarterback.
The Lions, though, was scary for them for a little bit, but they moved to 7-4 with a 34-27 overtime win against the G-Men.
Yeah, and really the story here is Jahmyr Gibbs just went insane.
He's ridiculous.
I mean, he's playing at a really, really high level. I said last week, I was talking to our buddy Justin, and he's like, is Jahmyr Gibbs the best running back in the league?
Did you say Wes just had him number 2 on his list last week?
I didn't, but I said last week, even before this game, I think he's the best player with the ball in his hands in the league. I mean, I don't know if he's a better...
He's the last person I would want to see. He's the last running back I would want to see in space.
Absolutely. And they do a really good job of getting him in space.
A lot of guys
doubt.
are, but he...
Yeah, and since Campbell's taken over as head coach, they're getting him the ball even more and in advantageous ways. But they did have a scare.
They did.
The Giants are playing tough.
They are.
So I just heard this number when I was driving here, so it's far from exact, but almost all their rushing production came when Dexter Lawrence was off the field. Like when Dexter Lawrence was on the field, they ran for like 60 yards, averaged like 3.8 yards a carry. Good. And then every snap he was out, it was like they had like 220 yards rushing or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
He's one of the more underrated players of the last 5 years.
On a not-so-great team.
Because the team is so bad. Packers get it done. They roll at home against the Vikings. They move to 7-3-1 to stay on the heels of the Bears and half game ahead of the Lions. Maybe finally that first time in a long time, like a comfortable, convincing win from the Packers that we've been waiting to see.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of what we've been waiting to see and kind of expected. I mean, I think that they played like a good team, like a true contender. Minnesota's got a lot of problems, and it starts with quarterback.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It sure does. J.J. McCarthy, concussion. Who knows? That might have just been Justin Jefferson smacking him on the back of the head when they got on the airplane. But the Vikings, they have issues on offense, and they are many.
Yeah, they are.
As I think you probably for a couple weeks now could stick a fork in them, but that is definitely the final blow there for Minnesota.
Just such a disappointing season after all the wins last year.
I completely agree. And, in particular, what felt like, okay, yeah, you lose Sam Darnold, but if you could just kind of maintain B-plus quarterback play, you'll be fine. You got enough on offense. But that has not been the case for Minnesota at all. Matt, what we predicted would happen in Music City is what happened in Music City. Seahawks comfortably in the lead pretty much the whole way. Tennessee did give them a little bit of a scare at the end, but the Titans score to cover, but Seattle wins 30-24.
Yeah, and the Titans had a return for a touchdown, which kind of inflated things a little bit. But Cam Ward played really well.
Yes, he did.
So some of these downtrodden teams, we'll get to a few of them. Raiders come to mind, with their loss to the Browns. I mean, at least they got a quarterback to be excited about. And I think Ward he's had his ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but he's a pretty exciting guy.
Did you see this kind of meme thing between some Falcons and Titans? It was going viral all over Twitter yesterday. So some Falcons fan last week, I think it was, some Falcons fan heading into this week, like tweeted out 3-7 and no first round pick.
Okay.
And it was like an animation of like someone jumping off a building.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so some Titans account like reposted that and was like 1-10 and have our franchise quarterback. And it was like 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
Yeah. Like they may have the first pick in the draft, just entertaining offers.
And you
and
don't
turn
have
it
to
into...
like jump it. You can entertain offers.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like concerned of, are we going to pick the right quarterback? Who's the right one? You could go take the best tackle if you want, the best edge rusher if you want. You could trade that pick and get a haul.
That's what I was thinking. They might get the best defensive player in the draft and the best receiver in the draft. Right.
Seriously.
Okay, if you trade down and play your cards
and
right.
maybe another day 2 pick for the future.
Right. So at least there's that,
Despite
been a rough year.
It is funny to say, but yeah, despite being 1-10, I think you could
be worse.
You could see things going in the right direction next year for the Titans. They got to have a good offseason. They got to hire the right head coach.
So the coach will see what happens. Right?
But Cam Ward seems like a big piece of that puzzle.
Massive.
And you got to be at least encouraged about that if you're in Nashville. Speaking of massive, Matt, for the Chiefs, man, they needed a huge fourth quarter to force overtime. They get it done. 6-5, staying alive as they beat the Colts at home in overtime, 23-20.
Colts looked like they had them where they wanted them. I mean, there's two games that come to mind. Like, it looked like the Eagles had that game in control. Looked like the Colts had that game in control. And
until they didn't.
Rashee Rice was making big plays, but to me, that was all about Mahomes. I mean, it's like, I remember when he used to just like take over playoff games and be an unstoppable Thanos force. You know, right? Yeah.
That was much needed for him, much needed for Kansas City.
And they're very much alive.
Matt, 352 yards passing for Mahomes.
Wow.
I mean, didn't have a touchdown pass, but still.
Yeah. He was not taking no for an answer.
He was not taking no for an answer, that's for sure. As, again, the Chiefs still work to be done, but they're staying alive. They're hanging around back above 500 at 6-5 with that important overtime win against the Colts. Ravens, we touched on this a little bit, Matt, but they have won their fifth straight game, 23-10. Maybe was a little bit closer than that final score indicates against the Jets. Matt, they're a tough one to pin down, Baltimore, because
I know.
Like they keep winning. They keep winning. They're not overly impressive if you watch the games, but they find a way to get it done. Lamar, I think, clearly is not 100%, but continuing to find ways to make some plays.
I think Hamilton got hurt, and I don't know the extent of it. I just heard he left the game. I don't know.
I missed that.
Yeah, I need to double check on that one. Jets did a couple, I don't want to put the Jets in the same conversation as the Titans, though, either, because they don't have their quarterback. But they got 1 million first-round picks. It looks like Mechie and Mitchell could be okay with, Quentin Wilson, what's his face? The other receiver, Wilson, who's been banged up.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson. They have an O-line. They're so far away, but they hung around with a good team. I don't think the Ravens are a great team this year. I think I overrated them in the preseason.
I think everybody did. Yeah. Even if you were the biggest Ravens hater, you probably still had them winning 11 or 12 games.
Yeah.
Matt, I've been guilty of this, but the idea, the Ravens have made it through the toughest part of their schedule. There's no denying that. But they still do have to play the Bengals twice, which is a much different task with Joe Burrow. All respect to Flacco and how well he played at times. It's a different task with Joe Burrow. They got to play the Steelers twice, which, hey.
I mean, they're not going to go 4-0 in those games.
I'm not saying it's the classic days of the Steelers in Baltimore, 2 dogs, 1 bone, and one of these teams is probably going to go to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, and the other one's going to be mad all offseason that they couldn't best their rival. But they have to play the Bengals twice. They have to play the Steelers twice in division games. Weird things happen. Good quarterback for Cincinnati.
Maybe Lamar gets healthy tomorrow, whatever. But and they start rolling. But right now they're just struggling to get by.
They also have to play New England at home.
Oh, do they?
Which is going to be important for the Patriots. I mean, it's not the Patriots are going to be resting guys or anything. They're going to be holding off Buffalo. They're going to be working for the first seed. They still got to play the Patriots. They still have to go to Lambeau.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that Lambeau trip. Okay.
So I think both where I'm going with this is Steelers and Baltimore, both with tough schedules down the stretch.
Yeah, and a lot of unwritten story for both teams.
No doubt. And, hey, I certainly think on this Monday they're feeling better in Baltimore than we are here in Western Pennsylvania.
Yes, as they should be.
Week to week league, a lot can change. And that as much as, hey, I was willing to kind of play the bad cop, the sad cop, I'm not going to lie to everybody. My glass was half empty this morning, But by 7 days from now, or heck, even Friday morning, depending on what happens in that Baltimore game Thursday against Cincinnati, we could be singing a different tune. Shedeur gets in. Shedeur gets the win, Matt, in a battle of teams jockeying for top 5 picks in the draft. The Browns go out to Vegas, and they win 24-10.
Yes. Now,
the Raiders are the worst team in the league.
I think the Raiders are the worst team in the league, and they fired their offense coordinator. They maybe all should get fired, and
Gino got sacked 10 times.
That's what I was going to say. Everyone's going to talk about Shedeur, and that's great. I mean, he played okay. He played decent. He looks like he'll probably start the rest of the year, which makes all the sense in the world. And maybe he's the answer. Maybe he convinces him to give them a year. Who knows? But, man, that Browns pass rush led by Myles Garrett is awesome. But that looked like Bama versus Bama State in terms of D-line versus O-line.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The Raiders' offensive line is one of the worst I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And you
combine, and they pick up stunts and things poorly, and like they're not well coached.
And you combine that with Geno has not been good this year. He's clearly like trying to do some Caleb Williams. I'm the best athlete on the field stuff, but at least Caleb Williams is sometimes.
Right.
Geno is not. Like he
threw for
3 for 285 and a touchdown, but you take 10 sacks.
10 sacks.
And they just can't get anything going in the run game.
No.
60 yards rushing on the day.
Yeah, I know. I think they are the worst team in the league. They lose to the Titans right now for sure.
I think so, which is insane because on paper, their roster is much better than the Titans.
Yes.
Speaking of news around the league, Chip Kelly getting the axe today.
Highest paid offensive coordinator
a couple
months ago. Yeah.
11 games in. See ya, buddy.
I mean, the offense is a disaster, so I guess something had to be done, but they might all be gone.
Jags get a much-needed overtime win, move to 7-4, stay in that wild card position Jacksonville does in Arizona, 27-24 over the Cardinals, thanks to an overtime field goal.
Yeah, and they rushed the passer well, too, and that's, 2 wins coming back-to-back against the Chargers and Cardinals after coming out of their bye. So should be some optimism around Jacksonville. And that's one of those teams the Steeler fans need to focus on. We need some losses from those guys, too.
Yes.
Because you could definitely be fighting them for a wild card.
Yes. One to keep an eye on, the Jags. Ever since remember that just bad game that they coughed up down in Houston against the Texans a few weeks ago, and we were like, that might be it for Jacksonville.
Right.
They've responded since then. They've responded
getting
since
things
then.
kind of right, which I don't love.
I think Liam Cohen might be the right
guy.
Might be the right guy down there. Matt, a couple very surprising NFC results for 2 different reasons. The first, the Cowboys beat the Eagles 24-21. They get back to 500 and keep their season alive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the analytics, it's still only, I think, like a 20% chance for them to make the playoffs.
They dug quite the hole, yeah.
But
I'm excited about them for next year.
They are 5-1. They are playing good football. They do have a lot of foundational pieces there. But that was with the Eagles going up 21-0. That felt like curtains. The way that Eagles defense is playing, the way that they can run the football and put games away as good as anybody. Dallas comes back, scores 24 straight unanswered to keep their season alive.
Yeah, I think Dallas is kind of one of the most interesting teams in the league in that they've made all these big moves, and you can say what you want about Jerry, and he's an interesting character and is a businessman, obviously. But this team for years has identified talent and I know they traded away Parsons, which I did not agree with at all. But Quinnen Williams has made a massive difference. Needless to say, George Pickens has been a nice addition.
Yes,
He's been, frankly, one of the best receivers in the league.
Yes, he has.
The defense is far from one of the worst in the league anymore. They can hang with anyone now.
Playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
And he has all year. The offense has been great. But that team, it's probably too little too late, but they can hang with anybody.
It in all likelihood, I think is too little too late.
I do too.
But they're that proverbial, I wouldn't want to play those guys right now.
No.
If I was Kansas City and desperately needed a win on Thursday, Is
that who they got?
They got Kansas City on Thursday on Thanksgiving. That's the
Dallas.
That's the 4:30 game. Yeah, can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that
baby.
could be a lot better than you think.
That'll be right when the tryptophan's setting in from all that turkey.
Yeah.
Time to lounge on the couch and watch a good game. Then they go to Detroit. That's a tough one.
I knew they had 3 real tough ones in a row. Philly, KC, Detroit. Ouch.
Yeah.
But they won the first one.
They have Minnesota. They have Washington. They have the Giants. Okay.
Yeah, they could end strong.
I tell you what, if they can split,
if they get one of these 2,
if they can
maybe
split these next 2 with Kansas City and Detroit and be 6-6.
I mean, they're probably a dog at home, but short week at home on Thanksgiving in Dallas.
You'll take it.
Yeah.
You'll take it. And then Minnesota they should beat. Chargers will be a tough one, but Washington they should beat. Giants they should beat.
One note though, this game went all the way to the end of overtime too. They played a lot of snaps to be hosting a Thursday game. Quick turnaround. I know it's at home. Thankfully for them. Wasn't meant to be a Thanksgiving joke.
And
but,
just a physical Eagles team too.
That's
like,
what I
takes
mean.
a toll
right.
on you.
Yeah.
Man, Dallas, I got a feeling at the end of the year they're going to rue that loss to Arizona at home that they had a few weeks ago. That might be that losing
maybe
that
that's
bad
the difference when
Cardinals
it's said and
team
done.
might be the difference for them when it's said and done, especially with that being an NFC loss.
Dallas is really interesting to me.
They're
right now.
they're almost like must-watch TV the rest of the season. At this point. Matt, the Falcons take care of business. Kirk Cousins gets a win in New Orleans against the Saints, 24-10.
Yeah, I don't have much from this one. I mean, it
Yeah.
was going on during the Steeler game, and it was probably the least exciting game of the day. It's a big rivalry. I'd have to look more into it. I don't have much to really comment on that one.
That's about it. That's about it.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to my WVU guy David Sills. Been on practice squads in the NFL for 7 years.
Yeah.
Got activated, scored his first touchdown. That's called determination, children.
There
7
you
years
go.
of practice squads, hanging on, baby. Catches his first touchdown there in the Superdome. And then, Matt, I mentioned, I think, 2 really surprising NFC games with how they played out. The first being that Eagles-Cowboys one.
Yeah.
The second being Rams and Bucks, just because I did not see that butt whooping that the Rams put on the Buccaneers last night. That one
I think
had
I took
me,
the points in that game, thinking the Bucks would stick around.
but I think we
Man,
both did.
Yeah,
That one to me was like
it was over in 5 seconds. They're the best team in the league, and right now I don't think it's particularly close.
Throughout that whole second quarter, I kept telling myself, I'm not going to go to bed. You know, this is the Bucks will get back into this one. They'll make it interesting. I was like, I'm going to bed. Like this game's over.
I mean, Stafford, Nakua, Adams is ridiculous.
Insane.
They really don't have any weaknesses right now. Defense is playing great. Stafford's the MVP. Yeah, I mean, Bucks probably still win the division, although if Carolina wins tonight, they should be worried, which is weird, but right. They're so beat up, though. Baker's banged up. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries in Tampa. I kind of feel for that organization.
If Carolina wins tonight, which is a tall task, they're in San Fran, and a Niners team that needs a win to kind of keep pace in that division and that playoff outlook in the NFC as well. The Panthers would be half a game ahead of the Bucs if they won tonight, though.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy. But San Francisco's 7.5-point favorites. We might as well, since we're just talking about it here. You taking the points or you lay? I might lay them with San Francisco.
I think I want Carolina in the points.
Yeah?
Just because they run the ball well, and San Fran's D is pretty. It's over 7, right? 7.5?
7.5.
Yeah. To me, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
I like San Fran's O right now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I keep waiting for the Panthers to turn into a pumpkin, and to their credit, it hasn't happened yet this season.
They may have a coach, too.
The smart,
kind of like the Jags.
Yeah.
The
smart play there was.
Speaking of which, those two, it's coincidental. Those were both Bucs offensive coordinators that took head jobs, and they look like they're doing a really good job. And
both the Bucs and the Lions struggling a little bit compared to where people thought they would be this year after losing.
Yeah.
4 between them very talented coordinators.
I would say Todd Bowles did a great job, and company did a great job hiring offense coordinator, and then another one. This third one, though, I don't know. I only got 3 in a row right.
It's tough.
Yeah. That's a tough chore.
It's very tough. It is. It's one thing like if you're winning a Super Bowl and you're losing your coordinators, you're like, okay, we get it. It's another when you feel like you're getting closer and building and building.
Yeah.
And that's tough to overcome. It certainly is. More around the league, more on the Steelers, maybe some of your tweets as well, too, before we get up out of here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Few more T's to cross and I's to dot around the National Football League. Matt, Dylan Gabriel cleared, but Shedeur Sanders will stay as Browns QB1. I mean, this is the right decision for Cleveland, right? It's.
I think it's kind of the plan all along. Was Dylan Gabriel was picked first? Let's see what he can do. Unless he blows your doors off, let's at least. You have to see both throughout the course of the year, especially with their draft resources. So. I don't give the Browns a ton of compliments, but I actually kind of think they've handled this pretty well, you know. And getting Flacco out of the equation kind of made it easier too, you know.
Yeah, completely agree. And I mean, Kenny Pickett at one point in this process as well too. Like
we need to at least evaluate.
We
these
forget
two
it. At one point, we were all talking about. They've got on the roster or in the organization, they've got Flacco, Pickett, Watson.
Yeah.
And then they drafted 2. Like
Watson actually went on this road trip. It's the first road trip he's been on
Did he really?
forever.
I didn't see that.
Maybe he just wanted to go to Vegas.
Hey, worst places to spend a weekend,
Right,
especially in November.
You
as
know
the
you're
weather
not
gets
playing,
cold.
right?
Matt, we mentioned Chip Kelly fired as the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. Shane Bowen also dismissed as defensive coordinator of the New York Giants.
So the Giants have fired a head coach and a defensive coordinator. Now, I think they actually have good talent on defense, especially the front line.
I was just going to say, that defensive front is one of the more talented units in the NFL.
And it's a pretty darn bad defense.
Yeah.
It's not a horrible job, though, for the next group.
No.
Same with Tennessee.
And, I mean, again, it's the Jackson Dart thing.
How much do you like them?
But they're going to hire a coach who likes them. So,
of course.
Or at least
it might even be
pseudo-likes
Kafka. I mean, wouldn't be blown away if he gets a crack.
Lane Kiffin?
He's been linked, right?
Is
he going to LSU?
Can I just tell you guys this? I've got sources. I've got little birdies at LSU and Florida that are both convinced that they're getting Lane Kiffin.
Really?
Like in a few days, he's going to coach the Egg Bowl, which is their big rivalry against Mississippi State on Friday, and then it's going to be announced where he's going next.
They're not like playoff eligible. That'll be their last game of the year.
They might get in the playoff, which would throw a real wrench into the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're ranked like 6th right now, I think. So, they're not going to play for an SEC championship game.
But they still could be alive after this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, there could be 5 or 6 SEC teams that go to the playoff. Well, maybe we'll hit on that a little bit on Wednesday. But it is funny. LSU and Florida both now are convinced that they're getting Lane Kiffin. And I'm sure that'll end out well and respectful.
Just let them bid against each other, yeah.
For everybody. Maybe he will end up. Wouldn't that be funny? He just ends up in New York regardless. Matt, J.J. McCarthy in concussion protocol. Could this be it for him in Minnesota? I mean, listen,
I don't know if it's it for him.
It's been historically bad.
Really bad.
Like we were his for guys who qualify that have played so many snaps, his EPA out of 850 some eligible quarterbacks in the 21st century.
It's like last.
Dead last, except for Jamarcus Russell, the most notorious draft bust of all time.
Yes.
I will say, though, he's only started, 8 or 9 games in the NFL?
I know.
It is still pretty small, but, man, it does not look good.
I don't know what will happen the rest of the year. I'm sure he won't play this week. Maybe this concussion is very convenient. He saved him from himself in a way. I mean, I thought they could have brought him back quicker than they did the last injury. It's not like they have other great options this year, but their season is shot. I would bet everything I have that it's McCarthy and Kyler Murray.
Somebody, like another first-round pick.
I bet it's a veteran.
Okay.
A reclamation project or somebody that's had some success, something like that next year.
Interesting. And that crop of those type of Kyler Murray quarterbacks doesn't seem to be...
No, I'm not even sure who they are.
You wouldn't put Kirk Cousins in that group anymore. You wouldn't put Geno Smith in that group anymore.
Daniel Jones isn't going anywhere.
Going anywhere.
The only two I can think of are Kyler and
Flacco's so old now that
Right. Maybe Mac Jones. You could trade for Mac Jones.
That's a good one.
Yeah. He's one name. I think he'll be a starter somewhere. I don't know if Tua moves now, but I thought maybe Tua or Kyler, but I think Kyler would be on the move.
Matt, we mentioned one of them, but a couple of significant left tackle injuries. The Patriots lose Campbell, although they are, quote, optimistic he will return this season. Cowboys, this one could loom large for Thursday on a short week. Guyton has been described as likely out against the Kansas City Chiefs on that short week.
He's been moderately successful. He's from the Faltanu tackle class. It was loaded. Would have went earlier than that if it wasn't a loaded class. They could probably live with it, except that that's a nasty group of pass rushers they're playing against.
Boy, is it ever.
Oh, no, they just played the Eagles. Chiefs aren't that crazy. They're playing Kansas City coming up.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking the Eagles is when I said that.
Yeah, I know. Cowboys and Chiefs on Thursday.
Yeah, they don't have a great group of edge rushers.
They do not, but
it's a good team. It's a good team.
It's a good team. Yeah, that's true. Although I wonder if that's one of those where kind of Chris Jones is like,
maybe
I'm gonna line up over there if he's
I'm sure he'll do some of that.
If he's not returning to action on this short week. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of injuries across the NFL. I mean, a lot for the Steelers, Matt. too.
We haven't even touched on it, but that's more of a Tuesday conversation for us. But
we'll get more into it, obviously, when we hear what Mike Tomlin has to say tomorrow. But Broderick Jones exits and ends up on street clothes.
Yeah.
On the sideline in street clothes. Not a great sign. Joey Porter Jr. exits and ends up on the sideline in street clothes.
Yeah.
Not a great sign. And
we did get our answer to Pierre versus Slay, though. It was Pierre.
How about that?
Slay just came in as a replacement for Porter, basically.
It was...
I think that's how it went. I mean, just watching on TV.
No, it absolutely did.
Yeah, Pierre was the guy.
It absolutely did. I don't think we even saw Slay.
I'm not sure he played it all until the injury.
I
think he was just a backup. Yeah.
And so that was one of those, hey, we'll wait and see what they say. What they said was one thing, but wait and see how they deploy them. And it
speaks volumes.
It was very clearly Pierre. I think we saw some of that. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago with the usage of Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. Like, Calvin Austin might be the one who gets introduced as a starter by Larry Richard at Acrisure Stadium. Out of Memphis, number 19, Calvin Austin. But Roman Wilson ends up, 3 times the snap count or whatever it was the other week.
And then they went back to Austin a lot heavier this past week.
And then they went back to Austin a lot heavier this week.
I forgot we didn't talk about this because I did on the other show. To me, that just screams that they're searching.
They're searching.
That's
1,000%.
And I don't mean that in a good way at all.
I concur.
Neither's the answer,
They're not. And when you combine the DK stuff too, it's not a great place to be.
No. They need more from their receiver room.
They need more from their receiver room. They need more from everybody on offense in general, but especially from those who aren't on the offensive line or running backs.
Yeah, I say that group's been getting better and better and better.
Getting better and I'm not saying they're a Mona Lisa, but they've been getting better and better. Where
Gainwell blows me away. I mean, every chance he's better than the next time. It's nuts.
He's been very. It's almost, remember when I think you said this sometime when we were out in Dublin or maybe when we came back for the bye week, you were like, Jalen Warren's this team's leading wide receiver. And that's not a good thing, but it's a testament to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell is their most reliable playmaker right now, and it's not a good thing, but it's a testament to him.
It's kind of like Boz is great, but I don't want him to do the MVP conversation we have all the time. Right.
He continues to make plays when he gets opportunities.
Yeah.
But, man.
Really nice addition.
And I still think Jalen Warren, especially dealing with an ankle injury, has been good, has been fine, has been effective.
Yeah. This isn't a Gainwell's better than Warren conversation. It's just Gainwell's good.
Aside from those offensive linemen and those 2 running backs, I need more from the wide receivers. I need more from the tight ends. I need more from the quarterback play.
Oh, 1,000%. Now, I am curious what we get from Rodgers now.
Totally.
Yeah, week off.
Totally.
Let's...
There's some renewed if he would have played on Sunday and struggled again, there would have been 2 camps.
Right.
The first would have been, well, he's not 100% healthy. It's okay. It's fine. He was playing through a wrist injury. And I'm sure there was probably some truth to that.
And it always is.
Or it would have been, he's fallen apart. He's washed. He's finished.
Old,
it's the same thing we saw with Russell Wilson.
Why isn't Rudolph in there all the time now? Blah, blah, blah.
I'm kind of glad that we had a reset point, and now I think we'll get a clear
and it's now
observation.
It's one performance, but I would have liked their chance to win that game better with Rodgers.
1,000%.
I think that's clear.
Maybe that illegal formation, illegal shift at the end of the game doesn't happen with Rodgers.
I mean, he sees it from the sideline.
Yes. That was a telling moment in that regard between a good quarterback in Mason Rudolph and an all-time great in a guy like Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe they complete 2 of the deep balls.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it probably would have been better.
I think it definitely would have been better.
And that's
not even to say that Mason was terrible, but in a thin margin game like that, throws an interception, has the strip sack fumble. Maybe Rodgers avoids one of those turnovers, and it's 1 instead of 2.
Frankly, I expected more from Rudolph going into the game than what we got.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was all on him.
No, I don't either.
I don't think the Titans, I don't think the tight ends, pardon me, or the wide receivers helped him out very much.
No,
Freudian slip there with Mason was a Titan.
Oh, tight end, Titans, Warren.
Whatever.
Okay,
I'm reaching too much with that one. But yeah, I that's against a Bills defense too that is not the greatest.
Not the greatest.
Haven't covered themselves in glory as of later throughout most of the season. But obviously we'll have plenty of time to discuss all of that as we roll along. Matt, I think that's about it in terms of our Around the League Week 12 conversation. Let's take our last break here. When we return on the other side, some final Steelers thoughts, some tweets to get us out of here as well. Matt Williamson, Wes Uhler. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here, final segment on a Monday. Matt, you're usually better about this than I am, but before I forget, a little housekeeping for everybody.
Oh.
No show Thursday this week.
Right.
Because of Thanksgiving. I think we at least deserve that with our families, but we'll be doing the darn
4
thing.
4 days, though, yeah.
Usual programming every other day. We will have Black Friday shows, of course, Wednesday show. So if you're traveling around, be safe.
Yes.
Be responsible. And, make sure you're
and tune in.
You're spreading the propaganda.
I'm sure a lot of you guys are in cars or airplanes or whatever, so extra time just, listen in.
Moats used to make this joke like every holiday season. He'd be like, when you're around your family this weekend, grab their phone, subscribe to the podcast on their phone.
Right.
It's free. It doesn't cost them anything. It's the best Christmas gift you can give them. Go on their Apple Podcast. Go on their Spotify. Find The Drive. Click subscribe. They'll thank you later.
Whether they know or not.
Yeah, exactly. Just take
after they pass out after all the tryptophan and wine or whatever.
Tryptophan, all that spiked punch. Your nieces and nephews, your cousins, your aunts and uncles. Just grab their phone. Subscribe to The Drive and make their holiday season even brighter. Matt, some tweets to get us on up out of here on this Monday. Angry Bike Lane tweets us. I can imagine he's angry. Is there any excuse for the Steelers ignoring the middle of the field, particularly considering all of the injuries to the Bears? Ain't that the $1 million question, cousin?
Well, let me go backwards in a minute here.
$64,000 question if I want to be.
TV's losing his marbles over there.
Yeah, he's right. Subscribe on YouTube.
He's right,
for all
man.
Your family members as well. Subscribe on YouTube. And really watch our videos, okay? I mean, all these other.
I'll be honest. I should have chewed out Steeler Nation a little bit, well before this. Go to YouTube and just hit the subscribe button. I mean, I never ask people to do that stuff on any of my podcasts or outlets.
Yeah, but especially
watch
our video too.
Well, watch it too, but hit that subscribe.
Hit that subscribe button, so easy, dude, on the YouTubes and watch our. We all know the Aaron Rodgers press conference, the sight and sounds. It gets all the love, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But don't you want to see Matt and I's handsome mugs here as well?
100%. Get on it.
Yeah, help get Tyler a nice Christmas bonus and show us some video. Show us some video love as well. Matt,
middle of the field stuff.
$64,000 question is.
Yeah, it's massive. We
know that it's something quarterback, coordinator. It's been an issue for a long time now.
Yeah.
But I think particularly in this game, it jumps out when you know that they were down so many key pieces. Chicago, I'm talking about the kind of the spine, the middle of that defense.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it made me a little crazy. I mean, looking at it on Monday or Sunday night,
tough pill to swallow.
Hey, your top 3 linebackers are out. Another one gets injured in this game, and you got all these tight ends and middle of the field options. Why not attack the middle of the field some? And we know really hasn't mattered who the coordinators or quarterbacks have been. Since Ben has been at his best, that is not how this offense has operated much. Now, it's not like they didn't challenge the linebackers at all. I mean, who do you think's guarding Warren or Gainwell in the flats and things like that too? I mean, it doesn't all have to be over the middle. I, without question, would have liked to have seen much, much more of it. I also will say, let's not forget that this is the best takeaway team in the league, and takeaways happen in the middle of the field. Now, it still makes me crazy that they didn't do some.
That's kind of living in your fears-esque,
in some way. Yeah, I'm sure it was stressed.
You aim big, you hit big. You aim small, you hit small.
I'm sure it was stressed to no end all week in prep for this. This team takes the ball away. This team takes the ball away.
Absolutely.
That's our path to losing.
That's our path to, as that should have been one of the first things on the grease board.
It's number
Wednesday
one.
When they start. Yeah.
And whoever the Bears play next week, it should be number one on their list too. And then, we're going to a backup quarterback. It's one we trust, but it's a backup quarterback. So maybe we reel it in even more.
I think it'd be a lot
Just
more,
trying to spell out the angles.
It'd be easier to
but
stomach
still
in
made
that
me
regard
crazy.
if it felt like more of a one-off.
Right.
And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm all of a sudden harping on this Monday, but it really stood out yesterday. This trio of tight ends that we spent so much time talking about how you can attack defenses with these guys.
And they're on the field a lot. You traded for one. One looks like an up-and-coming star. I think Freiermuth's vastly underrated by Steeler Nation. You need more from these guys. But I would have loved to seen sit down in zones against linebackers I've never heard of, or stretch the seam up the middle, and we didn't. And I'm trying to explain it the best I can from every angle, but I think it was lacking, to say the least.
Joe tweets us here and says, with everything that the NFL does to kind of fix the game, improve the game, when will they admit they have an officiating problem? There's so much inconsistency, drive to drive, game to game, week to week. I agree with that.
I do too.
But
I don't know the answer.
A couple things. One, and I don't know exactly when Joe tweeted this or what was on his mind. It could have been the illegal shift penalty. It could have been that change on the punt with the penalty that they messed up.
That was very confusing from just a TV watcher standpoint.
Because they went right to break. And so I get that. And that's one of the things I can maybe I should have done this earlier, paint a little bit of a picture for everybody that isn't like sitting right there in the press box.
It was, I didn't know what the heck was going on.
I guess when the side judge or whoever threw the flag relayed it to the head official, the head official heard him wrong. Okay. And so the head official gives the call on the broadcast, right?
It was the holding
on the Bears, going to put them inside their own 5-yard line or at the 5, whatever it would have been. Hold on Chicago, timeout, go to break. As soon as that happens, the official that threw the flag is like calling everybody over.
It's not on Chicago.
And there's a quick so it was clearly like the guy pointed out he made a mistake right away. It wasn't some conspiracy. This was minutes later. Like it was like right away the guy was like, huddle back up, and they came out of the huddle and were like, apologies. Like it was on the kicking team, holding on the kicking team, not on the receiving team. And because of that, Chicago has elected to re-kick. And so instead of having them pinned at their 5, they get the ball at what? Their 33. I mean, it ended up being like a 30-yard.
There's like a 30-yard difference.
Substantial difference.
At a big time of the game, which doesn't mean they officiated wrong.
It was just confusing and at a poor time on the broadcast, and it was just their signals got crossed. Okay. It was a human error moment, but still the right call that they wanted to call.
The other wrinkle I would add, though, is because I'm glad that you explained that, because us watching on TV, that was never explained and never really quite understood. And that was explained to me earlier, too, and that makes all the sense in the world. But I've never, maybe I just missed it, remember a holding call on a gunner.
I know.
I'm not sure how that happens.
I would like to have seen. This was another thing too.
Right.
The way that old Soldier Field, like the oldest stadium in the NFL, is built, we can't see the jumbotrons.
Oh, okay.
So from our broadcast booth, it was a really cool vantage point, but the overhang of the upper deck, we can't see the jumbotrons. So all we had was one little tiny monitor, which made it very difficult to see replays and see stuff like that.
I'm not even sure if it was like shown on TV.
Something I want to look into more. Maybe we'll have some more on this on the Tuesday Rewind.
Yeah.
But Matt, I'll tell you this.
I mean, a gunner running downfield, how do they hold?
Yeah, unless the play is like starting to head. Yeah, confusing. Confusing.
I'm not saying the Steelers got screwed.
Like that's the call that they wanted to make. I'm not saying it was right or wrong, but that's the call that they wanted to make. I will say this, Matt. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm about to do the classic thing where a guy complains about a problem but offers no solution.
I know. Like, tell me how to make the refs better, and I'm all ears.
This is a problem in every league. NFL, NBA. Major League Baseball is a little different because it's such a contained environment.
It's a little slower.
But anything that's as rapidly moving as football, basketball, hockey, college sport, college officiating in college football and college basketball is terrible.
Is it?
These athletes in the last 10, 15 years have gotten so much bigger, so much faster, so much stronger. These sports have gotten so much more specialized.
Yeah.
The margins between the best teams and the best players and the worst teams and the worst players is thinner than ever before.
And our ability to analyze them has gotten so much hyper focused because I can
the
focus
only
into
answer
this
is that
tiny
every
area.
referee in every sport can review every call that they want to at any time, but then that would drive us nuts because all these games would take 5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution is.
But nobody seems to have it.
Nobody seems to have it when it is the one grain of salt. Refereeing in all sports right now is bad.
Yeah.
The one grain of
And
salt.
we're more recognized. In the 70s, you didn't even notice.
Right.
Right.
Right. Because, again, it's all over social media. It's a million different camera angles.
I told you my 19-year-old watched something. He's like, what do you mean they didn't have replay? There was an old replay on NFL Network. It wasn't that long
this
ago.
call, and it wasn't
Super Bowl,
overturned
right?
because they didn't have replay.
He's like, I didn't know there was a time in NFL history where replay didn't exist.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, wow.
I don't know what the solution is, but the product on the field, on the court, on the grass, on the ice has, in terms of athleticism and speed, gone through the roof in the last 15 years, 20 years.
It's increasing incrementally.
And
like the internet.
And the officiating has not increased with it.
Right.
It'd be like if everyone was getting cell phones, but we still only had one Wi-Fi tower.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
We're building zillions of Wi-Fi towers and infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if they need younger, more specially trained officials. There are a lot of the same officials that have been doing it for 20, 30 years and don't get up and down the court of the field like they used to.
I do think it should be almost, and I think like driver's license should be this way too.
Yes,
like
and running for political office.
Yeah, like
You
might be a time you got to take it away
in
from
your 40s or 50s. After that, you got to no more officiating, no more running the country.
And
all right.
I've also heard the arguments like they should be full time. I'm like, well, maybe, but what are they doing on Tuesday afternoon?
You can send
Why can't they sell insurance or whatever?
College campuses and high schools.
Right.
But that
are they going to be
only
watching tape that much on Tuesday afternoon?
They need to be more athletic. Is
Maybe.
my simplest solution. But even again, that's still going to make it tough. Matt, that'll do it for us today. We actually, a couple more tweets here that I had bookmarked that I want to get to.
Yeah,
but we don't
we'll
have
dig
time,
more into this game too.
We'll get more into those tomorrow. I promise all you good people out there. We'll also talk with our buddy Chris Adamski and get all his thoughts on everything that transpired. We'll have hopefully some injury clarity with some of those questions too after Mike Tomlin speaks tomorrow at noon. So all of that and more on a Tuesday jam-packed show. A big thank you to Rob King for joining us today. A big shout out to our resident video producer / statistician / make sure you're subscribing on the YouTube, Mr. TV, Tyler V. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.